You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, we took a week off because we got really drunk last Saturday and someone else got married. So we had fun. But this week, we're going to talk a little bit of AEW Revolution. We're going to talk about the upcoming WWE pay-per-view for tonight, the Elimination Chamber. We're also going to talk the possibility of WrestleMania being canceled, and Matt Hardy is doing his viral thing again, and we're going to get into all of that and more this week as we
break the ring down.
Woo! You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
You just made the list.
This right here is a fan-made.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
And you're listening
To
You listen to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Bring it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the only podcast so dirty the coronavirus is not trying to catch it. You are listening to Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew.
Nicky Virus.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say hello. I want to say I missed you. I want to say all these things, but I'm not, so fuck you. No, just kidding. So, yeah, we took a week off. We, last time we were here, all of us were not married. Now, coming back, one of us is married. It's weird. It's so strange. We all had a blast at Z's wedding. When he gets here, we'll talk a little bit about that, how much fun he had.
He got kicked off the show now because he's married.
Yeah, really, you just can't be married on the show. It's breaking down the ring, not putting on the ring. It's way different show once you put on the ring, because all of a sudden you have to start answering questions. You have to be like, oh, this is where I'm actually going on Sundays for a couple hours.
Right.
And, instead of saying you're going to the podcast, you got to be like, oh, I'm cheating on you. It's so difficult, man. Let's just go ahead and keep it an honest relationship with your wife.
Air quotes.
Right, yeah, it was. I set them up. It's weird, but yeah, we'll get into that. Also, there's talk. WrestleMania, man, might not happen. A lot of other things are being canceled around the fucking world because of COVID-19. Is that the medical term for it? Cody or COVID-19, something like that.
One of them, yeah.
I think it's COVID. I think it's COVID. 19.
KOFI 19.
No, that was WrestleMania 35.
You're right.
Yeah. And that was a great disease to have because everybody caught it, baby.
Speak of the fucking devil.
You're a devil because you're married and we're not. We all.
That makes sense.
As we all said, it's a show's called Breaking Down the Ring, not Putting on the Ring.
Yeah.
This is, it's not for Z anymore. As a matter of fact, I found his replacement yesterday at work. Some guy came in, looks just like him, sounds just like him. The only difference is he's about a foot shorter. So, yeah, that was the thing. So
he got his tippy toes in that picture?
No, dude, it was he was just standing there at the bar. It was really funny. A good friend Walt was sitting there. Z and I are best friends with Walt. And Walt's there, and I looked at him, and I said, see that guy? That's not Z. And Walt's like, yeah, I know. He's really short. And then the guy turned, and Walt goes, holy fuck!
Well, Andy's not an iron worker. He's a basket weaver, so the opposite end of the spectrum.
Oh, so now I get it.
And his name was Jared.
Like Stewie and Bitch Stewie. Got it.
Yeah,
got it.
He was Bezero.
My name's no longer Z. I'm married. I'm just Brian now.
Hello, Brian.
Right. He has to share his
No,
last
that sounds
name.
weird. Let's go back to Z.
So first things first, we were going to go into Nick's fun night, but now that you showed up way sooner than I thought you were going to show up, let's talk about last weekend, man. Anyone who paid attention to our page, obviously Nick shot this beautiful video in portrait mode.
There it is.
Would have been way better in
really
landscape.
Funny. It was like the video was all in portrait mode, but he'd walk up and take photos in landscape. He's like, I got this for landscape. Oh, they're coming down. Let me turn the fucking phone. And you saw a couple of the entrances. You saw, obviously, me and my crew. We all Undisputed Era theme music. Z came and Allie came out to Shane McMahon's Here Comes the Money. And Nick got a lot of that, and as well as some of the fun. So you saw the video. We shot out a congratulations to Z. So normally we don't go too much into our own personal lives, but when there's big stuff, we talk about it. And so Z, man, you've been married for a week now officially. Anything different than when you were engaged? Other than saying this is my wife and this is my husband.
Not really.
This is my gun.
It's really cool because going into the wedding, she was really, really stressed. Mm-hmm. So, like, the week leading up,
Right.
kind of like walking on eggshells because you don't want to say or do the wrong thing. And now that it's all over, she's just been happy all the time. It's fantastic.
Wow, so you haven't been home at all.
No, but she is currently up north. So, so she left me. It only took 4 days, guys.
It was really funny, man. It was who was I was talking to? The photographer, when she was like, this is the first marriage I've ever been a part of where there's been annulment and divorce talk while signing your papers.
Yeah, so that picture I posted of us signing the marriage license, we're all laughing. Everyone in the picture is clearly laughing. And it's because I looked at Walt and I go, hey, if we only make it 4 years, I can still technically get an annulment. And everybody laughed, and that's when the photographer snapped the photo. And she said the same thing to me and Allie after. She goes, this is the first marriage license I've ever seen signed while there were jokes about annulment going on.
And
welcome to my life.
Yeah, that was the fun thing about it, is because they got married on Leap Day, February 29th. And so the original joke came from, I looked at Walt and I go, dude, Zeke could get a divorce in 3 years and he still wouldn't have made it a year. Because of leap year.
That's what I thought. Well, I don't have to get a divorce. I can just get an annulment. It's cheaper.
Obviously, because we are huge into wrestling and huge into the scene, wrestling was a major part of Z's wedding. All of the groomsmen each got a title belt from the Winged Eagle that Sean McMichaels. It's March 17th time, guys.
Deborah and Steve had a kid? Okay, got it. Okay.
Sean McMichaels. The Winged Eagle that Shawn Michaels held to the Austin belt down to the Undisputed Era, the Undisputed title that Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle were known for. Jesus Christ, it's welcome to the show, folks. And now the new WWE Championship, which obviously Brock Lesnar is holding, to the NXT Championship that Adam Cole, is holding, and the old school WWF Intercontinental Championship. All of the groomsmen, what's up, Tony Slavin? All of the groomsmen each got a belt, and then when we were all entering into the wedding, we all came out to our theme songs, and that was fun, man. That was awesome. It was a fun time, and what was really cool is even people that weren't really into wrestling got into it. Like, so when I was coming out to the Undisputed Era, I had my cousin Shane, who didn't remember how to walk a little bit. I still have a deep bruise on my ankle from when he kicked me from almost
he
falling.
slipped on the beer from the entrance before.
That's what it was?
Yeah, because Winston spilled beer. They did the Sandman.
Yeah.
And after he drank his beer, he kind of shook it up. And in their photo, you can actually see the particles of beer floating in the air. And
It still hurts.
so Shane put his foot down, and it just, I mean, you know how it was walking those dress shoes. You kind of, everybody,
You were
at the,
slipping anyway.
everybody at
Yeah.
the wedding has a picture of them on their ass because they fell.
Except for me.
And me. We were the only
Yeah?
two. Walt has one. Price has one. Like, everybody has a picture of them on the ground.
I saw Price on the ground. I saw.
Walt-
Was Shane on the ground or Shane just slipped?
Shane caught himself.
Yeah,
so
he didn't fall. But yeah,
but
Walt had a girl like on top of him, and he was doing like sit-ups and shit.
yeah, he
trying to-
like fell, and then he said he tried to do sit-ups to play it off. But everyone's reaction in the photo was great. But Shane got into it. Shane was doing one of the best Kyle O'Reilly fucking impressions. He even looked like him at first when he first does the step out. And then when he goes to walk back, he slips, kicks you in the ankle, and almost busts his ass. And then he recovers and goes
Just
right
kept
back
going.
to
Yep.
it. Like it was perfect.
One of Allie's bridesmaids, Mackenzie, we put the Breaking Down the Ring title on her, and so she had that belt on, and we did the boom. Yeah, as you said, before us was Enter Sandman from Metallica because they were doing the Sandman entrance. Walt comes down after me, and he does R-Truth, and he just runs around doing "What's up" and fucking doing the rap and made his own lyrics and stuff. And then yeah, man, Allie came down wearing your big gold belt.
Yeah, so Walt's entrance was a surprise. And the whole time, like, nobody would tell me. Also, I didn't want to know because he wanted it to be a surprise. So I was like, all right, cool. And the minute the music hit, I'm like, I fucking knew it. Like, I was like, there was like 3 I had in mind, and one of them was R-Truth. And I was like, I fucking knew it. Problem was, like, where we were standing, when he did his little remix part, I didn't even understand what he was saying. But Allie looks at me and she goes, "Can I wear the belt?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." So it took us a minute to come down because I had to actually like snap it around the big ass dress. But she looked at me afterwards. She goes, "Thank you." For what? She goes, "I don't know why, but wearing the title belt made me feel more comfortable." I go, "See, title belts do serve a purpose."
Right, yeah, exactly. It's not just to hold up your pants. Vince McMahon, that's such good shit. So yeah, we had a blast last weekend, and that's why we weren't here last Sunday, is because we were all recovering from being browned out. We were fucking wrecked.
Oh yeah, I was exhausted Sunday morning.
REKT wrecked.
Yeah, REKTTT wrecked.
I do have one regret, and it's that I didn't wear or carry my title more, because we got the preview of all the photos, and everyone that had a title belt while they were wearing it has pictures with like everybody like, "Oh, hold the belt, this, that." And I was like, man, that would have been really cool, like when I was talking to my family, because I have pictures like when we did the walk around, but it would have been cooler if I could have like snuck the belt in there or made like my grandma wear it or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it till after, and then it's like, damn, missed opportunity.
Another thing that we, well, not us, but Nick got to experience is NXT was back in Detroit again, as they do every March. Normally we all go. However, this time it was a Saturday, and taking off Saturdays from work for me are kind of impossible. So Nick got to go, and Nick took his daughter to NXT Detroit.
Yeah.
How fucking was it, man?
It was. It's funny because when I first got the tickets, I've been wanting to take her to like a smaller show to get her just, into it a little bit. I'm like, hey, got this chance to get front row, and she's like, yeah, okay, cool. She doesn't really watch a whole lot. Just like here and there, she'll peek at it when I'm watching. She knows who people are or whatever. But then this week leading up to it, she's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go. And then I'm going to change my mind. I'm like, why? What if they throw somebody in the crowd, like, on us? She's 8, we're about to be 8. I'm like, Callie, that's not going to happen. They've got ring awareness. They're going to see a little girl. You'll be sitting down. I got you. No problem.
Secretly, Nick's like, I hope they do.
Yeah. I'm like, she's saying, I'm like, well, no, they should throw them on us. And she's like, well, I'll just kick him in the face. I'm like, well, you go ahead. So then yesterday I did have to convince her. She's like, I changed my mind. I don't want to go. And I'm like, come on, I really want you to. And she did. And from the minute we got in line, we had to walk all the way around the building, and from the minute we got in line, she was pumped up. And then we got to, she got a shirt, and we got to our seats, and she's like, how much longer? How much longer? So then the show starts, and the first match is Matt Riddle, the Bruiserweights. And they're coming out, and Riddle comes around to us, and he's fist bumping everybody, and he goes to fist bump her, and she looks at him, and she's like, no.
I love her.
Well, so I was like, I go, come on, and then so she did, and then from then on, she was, I couldn't believe it. She turns to me, she's like, can I yell? I'm like, fuck yeah,
you can do
can
whatever
yell.
you want to.
I'm like, you yell as loud as you want, and she did. She was like, boo, you suck,
Matt Riddle.
boo. She was just going off.
That's awesome, man.
The highlight, though, was when Candice LeRae, she had her match, and she came out, and she high-fived everybody, and then she came back around before the match and gave Callie her shirt. Yeah. And Callie grabbed it and hugged it, and, like, you saw the look on her face like she just won the lotto, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now Candice LeRae can never do anything wrong to Callie.
Yeah.
It's fucking same thing with Roddy Strong with those fucking dog tags.
Well, okay, so then later there's another women's match. She goes, is Candice coming back out? I'm like, no, she's not coming out. Then at the end of the night, it's Ciampa and Damian Priest. Ciampa wins the match, and he's standing in the ring trying to, like, cut a little promo, and then all of a sudden, boom, the lights go out. And now she's cheering for Ciampa in this match, okay? Lights go out, lights come on, and Johnny Gargano's in the ring. And they're fighting a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's Candice's, husband or whatever. And she's like, oh, well, no, boo! And starts booing Ciampa. Because,
She likes Candice LeRae.
Yep.
Yep.
So
100%, man.
She's going to be so upset when she turns heel.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. It's really crazy to literally watch your child fall in love with something.
yeah.
When we went last time and Roderick Strong gave Michaela his dog tags, she was just like, what?
Yeah, the smile from her face did not disappear the rest of the night.
Yep, and she was enamored with them and still is.
She got to... Dasha came up to her. She got to announce a match. Or what was it, an interview?
At the beginning and then she got like the wrestling encyclopedia or something like that was given to her.
So with that, funny story, I don't remember who the host, what her name was last night.
Was it
but
Sarah?
No.
No, so it's a new one?
Yeah, Alicia Taylor.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know who I'm talking about.
But Corey Graves gets worst announcer of the year.
Taylor. I forgot about her.
Well, so she goes up to, and you mentioned in the chat that I was sitting next to James from Dave and Chuck.
Yeah.
And I looked at him a few times a night, and then when he said, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So she goes up to him and got the camera on him, puts a mic in his face. What's your name? James. All right, so who is the current NXT Women's Champion? And he just sat there and just stared at her.
And he didn't know.
And so everybody started fucking booing him. And he got up and did like a DX chop and whatever, but
wow.
I was like, James?
I can't believe he didn't know it was Rhea. Was Rhea there last night?
No.
Boo.
Nope, I know.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate here. He could have just blanked on her name.
True. Maybe like put on the spot.
Only because on Dave and Chuck and the Freak, they talk about wrestling like every once in a while, and they kind of know their shit.
Yeah, he's a huge fucking nerd.
Yeah.
With wrestling. He was at SmackDown. I saw him and everything.
I was kind of surprised. But maybe he just didn't. Maybe he did that to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have just been a heel thing, too. Like,
It was a work.
I'm sitting front row and I don't know anything. Fuck you guys.
Next, we're going to go into a quick discussion leading into AEW. A lot of talk about AEW recently, and very little of it has to do with things going on inside of AEW and more of things that are happening away from the AEW shows. And that is currently one of the top heels in wrestling, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, gave a 7-year-old child the finger
I don't see the problem here.
Not at all.
And his fucking dad got angry. I don't want to say angry. I don't want to make it seem like the dad's like, what the fuck happened? But dad, I don't know where he reached out to Cody. It may have been Twitter. It may have been something else. But he did reach out to Cody. And Ben says, fucking Chuck is Chuck is a wrestling fan, not Dave. For David Chuck, for you having a conversation about that.
We were talking about James. Neither of them.
Well, he said
No,
Chuck
I'm
is the
kidding.
wrestling fan along with James.
Oh, okay.
So they, Dad reached out to Cody and he was like, "Hey man, your performer flipped off my kid. Kind of funny at the time, but now my kid's kind of like a little upset about it." And Cody was just like, "Yeah, you went and saw MJF." Like,
Yep.
MJF.
If you want a PG product, there's this really terrible show on Monday nights you can watch.
There's this really terrible show on Friday nights. The Monday night show is actually getting better.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But yeah, he's like, you fucking you went to MJF. It's what you get, man. MJF is on fucking Twitter telling people to die. Like someone will say something and he'll quote the tweet.
What did he say to you when we were at Starcast? Your mother should have aborted you.
And that was the guy behind me. He was, because I told him, I was like, we don't got all fucking day.
Oh, you're like, oh, he's like, fuck you, fatty.
Yeah, he's like, you got all day, fat boy.
Sent to me when I was the thing. He would fucking came out. He's like, "You fat fuck," and I was like, "Well, no, I'm 20 pounds less."
He told some
No,
dude he
I'm
wanted
just
his
a
dog to die.
MJF changed my life. He called me a fat fuck, so I stopped eating.
He made me stop eating. So yeah, the guy was like, "Yeah, my kid's a little upset," and Cody was like, "You went to fucking see MJF. You get what you get." Shortly after that, Cody did invite him for a VIP AEW experience. Him and his kid, maybe more people. I don't know.
Why? So MJF can give him 2 fingers?
Right. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go backstage, you're going to get the exact same thing. But, you know, whatever. It's something to make up a little bit for MJF giving this kid the finger. But at the same time, me personally, I don't understand why we're making up for anything. It's fucking Maxwell Jacob Friedman, the guy who... on the show, it's not like he's not fucking flipping off people or giving people shit in the crowd.
Well, the
as
show
a heel.
itself it's not a PG show.
No.
Right.
And that is one thing that makes them different than WWE among others, but
among other things.
well, I mean like the guys whether it's an actual gimmick or just who he is in real life, he plays that 24/7.
Yeah.
We saw it at Starcast. He never once came out of character. He walked around like a pompous asshole. And I mean, me personally, I loved it. I thought it was fucking fantastic because you don't see that nowadays. You see, like, for example, when Braun Strowman was supposed to be a heel, and you see it on TV, and then you look on Twitter, and he's hanging out with you know what I mean?
He's
like
a big teddy bear, you know?
At least MJF keeps it consistent. I mean, almost like with The Undertaker and his gimmick, like they stay in character no matter what platform they're on. And I mean, nowadays that's rare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kudos. Flick off more kids.
I agree. And especially being the dad, like, okay, as the dad, you're at this event, you know what AEW is. Mm-hmm. Your kid may not know as much as you do, but I'd try to set that expectation. Like, okay, let's go meet this guy now. He's probably going to be a jerk, just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that he doesn't, like Z said, break character, and he is who he is no matter where you see him, that's the way it fucking should be.
Who's more kayfabe, him or Undertaker?
Undertaker.
Undertaker?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Now, there's a lot of talk because of this that MJF just kind of blew up over the internet. And I want to see what your guys' opinions are on this. First off, there was a lot of talk saying that Baron Corbin is a better heel than MJF, and I kind of laughed. And I was like, no.
What?
Not
Most
at all.
overrated professional.
Professional, according to the Wrestling Observer. Fucking Christ.
Are we going to talk about that?
We'll talk a little bit about it, yeah. And I'm just like, no, he's not. He's not a better heel than Baron Corbin. If we're honestly talking heels, MJF is one of the best heels in the game right now. Baron Corbin is not. But then it came up saying that MJF was a better heel than Randy Orton. And then I had to go,
2020 Randy Orton or
not even 2020 Randy Orton. I can't even say he's better than, because right now Randy Orton's putting on one of the best programs in Randy Orton's history. You know, with fucking RKOing Beth Phoenix and things like that, set the fucking internet on fire. So I want to ask you guys. Z, we'll start off with you. Do you think? Obviously, we're not negating MJF as a heel. We honestly think, we just said it, we gave him all the praise in the world for what he's doing. But is he a better heel than Randy Orton, career-wise?
Oh, career-wise? See, problem with that is Randy has made an entire career, like almost 20-year career of being a good heel or a great heel or whatever. Whereas MJF's kind of still a rookie. Like, I mean, this is his first major exposure. So I don't think you can compare careers. But I will say, up until Randy hit Edge with a concerto, MJF was the best heel in the business in 2019, going into 2020.
Okay.
Then
I'll agree with that.
Orton tries to end Edge's career again, and now we're back to the Randy Orton we love. We hate Randy Orton as a face, and I have a feeling MJF's going to be in that same boat. If he ever goes face, we're going to be like, what boring ass shit is this? Like, go back to flipping 7-year-olds off. I mean, they're very comparable, but to compare careers at this point, you can't even do it, because MJF doesn't have enough time in the spotlight to even be compared to Randy Orton.
Nick, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Like, what have you done for me lately? Yes, MJF is definitely the top heel in the business, but that was, like you said, leading up until the end of 2019. Currently, Randy Orton, like you said, is putting on one of the best shows, helping tell that story, and he's done that consistently as a heel for the better part of 20 years. So I definitely would say Randy Orton. I will say this, though, MJF flipping that kid off, as weird as it may sound to a lot of people, that's a smart fucking move, because bad press is good press, and whether they're talking about him. So now he's just building up this story for himself. So
well, and now he's forever from this point forward going to get a reaction out of that kid.
Yep.
Yeah. I will say what this does for MJF to even have this as a discussion.
Oh, to be put in the
same conversation as Randy Orton or as one of the better heels of the business. It just is a testament to how good he is at what he's doing. I agree. Randy Orton is obviously a way better heel than MJF when Randy Orton's playing the heel, because when Randy Orton plays the heel, holy fuck, Randy Orton plays the heel.
And he does it so well.
Yep.
And he too also kind of stays in character on social media as well. Like, he'll talk shit to people. Be like, when his last heel turn, when he was he was going in to face AJ Styles, I believe, and he was talking shit about the indie guys and talking shit with Kevin Owens. And we don't know that could have been real, but it played into what he was doing at the time. So, real or not, like, it's good to see it, again, consistent across all social platforms.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it should be. You know, I remember Bully Ray, was telling a story about when him and Devon came into WWE, and Bubba was told Vince, he goes, look, we are old school heels. We're going to be dicks. We're not signing autographs or anything like that. And Vince goes, yeah, you are. And Bubba's like, what? And he goes, yeah, this is an entertainment company. We are here to put asses in seats. So kids want an autograph, you give them an autograph. You don't act like an asshole to them. Now, that was back during the Attitude Era, going into ruthless aggression and stuff. And it may be different now because, like we said, there are times we've seen Kevin Owens. Dude, if Kevin Owens got some fucking heat one time because he did something to some kid at a house show. And I was like, oh, my God. And it's like, dude, he's a fucking heel. Get over it, Not as bad as maybe flipping off, again, I don't even think it's bad. I don't think any of these are bad. But it wasn't the point where it was like this. But it was, went and saw
Stone Cold Steve Austin used to flip everybody off.
Yeah, right? Yeah, even the good people into their face. He'd be like, here's to you.
Yeah, right. I mean, granted, at that period in time, both in wrestling and just in life in general. Flipping somebody off is almost like a term of endearment. But I mean, it's just, it's almost like people are just trying to find a reason to be mad at MJF or to be mad at these heels. But again, like,
get over it.
You want people to suspend their disbelief for 3 hours or whatever, or just buy into your soap opera or whatever. So you can't have, again, like Braun Strowman. Oh, 1 minute I'm in the ring trying to be a heel, destroying these people, and the next minute I'm on a boat with 4 other fucking wrestlers who are baby faces. So now it's like, oh, that just ruined the illusion.
Yeah, he's in his swim trunks and his flippy flappies.
Flippy floppies.
And the fact that they haven't done a public service announcement with "wash these hands" like is dropping the ball.
100%.
Missed opportunity.
Another thing, keeping in with AEW stuff, AEW Revolution happened over. Matter of fact, the same night Z and Allie were getting married, AEW was like, you know what, let's celebrate their wedding with a fucking pay-per-view, and they did, and
it was good.
Jon Moxley went over and is now your new AEW champion. Took the belt off of Chris Jericho. And there were some people on the internets, on the webs, and all around the place that were saying that maybe it was a little bit too early for Moxley to win it. They should have kept it going with Jericho. And look, maybe if Fozzy didn't have this tour coming up, Jericho would have kept it. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I think it was a perfect time for Mox to take it.
He almost held it for a year, right? Almost a year. It'll be a year in like April or something.
Or no, August.
August.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, close enough.
But yeah, even still, I don't think it was too early for him. That's the second pay-per-view they've had with him as the champion.
Maybe third?
No, there was Full Gear and now this.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this was much better pay-per-view than Full Gear.
Just throwing
it out there.
Do you think it would? Let's say Jericho wasn't going on tour with Fozzy. Is he too early for Mox to take it, or still perfect fucking timing?
Jericho didn't have other obligations and like wasn't going on the tour. I think he should hold it. Should hold it a little bit longer, just for the simple fact of, I think it was Talk is Jericho, where he talks about the longer a champion holds the belt, the more special it is when somebody finally takes it off of him.
Okay.
So if you're having Moxley chase, you find a couple other ways to kind of screw him out of the title, but you don't do it too much because then people get sick of it. I mean, that's the one thing like WWE does is they understand that people like the chase, but then they beat the chase like a dead horse, and eventually you're like, I don't even want to see him in the title picture anymore. So not to get to that point, but like if you just subtly have him keep chasing and just have these things happen and whatnot. You could have had Jericho hold that belt for a year if he didn't have other things in the works. I mean, it is what it is. With him having other obligations, it's a perfect time to drop it to somebody. And I know Moxley's like probably your biggest known star that's not Jericho. Because, I mean, Kenny and the Bucks are stars, but they're stars in this particular platform, whereas everybody knows Moxley, whether you're WWE, independent, New Japan, etc.
Yeah.
My only issue with Moxley winning the belt is now the company that's trying to be different than WWE, their first two champions are former WWE guys.
Yeah, but look, they're also two of the hottest people in the business right now. As much as I would love to say,
Mox is still the U.S. champion.
In New Japan?
Yeah.
Is he? I don't know.
No, I think he lost it.
No, he retained at the
Did he?
G1.
Excuse me.
And I don't think he's wrestled for it since.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he's still the champ. I mean, I could be wrong. But that doesn't matter. Different promotion, whatever. But if he is, that's really cool then, because now he holds a belt in New Japan and holds a world title in AEW.
Current champion? Yeah, Mox.
Oh.
He's holding both. Nick, how do you feel about Mox taking the belt too early? Good timing? Or even if Jericho wasn't going on tour?
At first, I thought it would have been a little too early, and not that I would have been mad about it, but when I had made my predictions last week, I did put Jericho going over. Okay. I like Moxley's character in AEW. The fact that he has more freedom to do what he wants and how he wants to do it, I think he's one of, if not the most over character for AEW. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a chase, maybe have him get screwed at Revolution, go into Double or Nothing, maybe get a rematch and win it there. I completely agree that when you have that champion, especially a world champion, hold the title for an extended amount of time, it does make it that much more special. And seeing as Jericho was your first champion, I don't think they would have took it off him if he hadn't had that Fozzy tour coming up. I don't think that would have happened. But then I think about it, well, depending on how long Moxley will hold it, then Jericho might be that guy. I'm your first 2-time AEW World Champion, and
I thought about that too. I thought he would be, and it would just give him. It's kind of like the Corbin thing, where everything Corbin does now he gets to talk about it, and I could just see Jericho being like, yeah, like just like he was the youngest / oldest AEW champion, and the longest reign. You know what I mean? It's just another notch under his belt, and he'll find a way to spin it to where it'll be hilarious, but true.
Right.
I do like him as a champion, though, Moxley, and that thought did cross my mind where it's like, well, now your first 2 champions are for WWE guys, but, I mean, that's like an afterthought, actually, because does it really matter at this point? Of course you're going to have guys that are going to be former WWE guys.
The reason I say it is because, I mean, technically speaking, like Cody is a former WWE guy, but that was years ago. Like Jericho and Moxley are fresh, like they came from WWE and signed with the company, and they're like the freshest in everybody's mind. Okay. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because you are right. They are the 2 hottest things they have right now, period. And how Mox didn't win Wrestler of the Year, especially on his little run after leaving WWE, is a little beyond me, but he was also injured for quite a few months. Right, and I mean, with Jericho doing his thing, it made sense. I'm just saying he was probably in the conversation. So it's weird to me just because Cody goes out there and like, we're not going to be like the other company. We're not going to do things like the other company, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's a guy that was in the other company, and part of the reason he's so big and everybody knows who he is because he was in that other company. Yeah. But
of course. I mean, look.
But a draw is a draw.
Yeah,
so.
WWE was going to put your name on the map. And the other reason why he's so big is because of how misused he was in WWE. And people wanted to see him break out and be something better than what it was. I personally, in my opinion, do not feel that this is too fast for Mox to hold that belt. Z said it himself. He's like, how long's Jericho had it? A year? No, he hasn't.
6
but
months.
It seemed like Jericho has held that belt for a very long time, to the point where everyone's like, oh shit, Jericho.
But you see it on TV every week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So with Lesnar, just by comparison, when you only see Lesnar 3 times, you're like, oh, he's only held the belt for 3 months when it's actually been a year.
Right.
And then Jericho, you see him every week, whether he's in action or not, you see the fucking belt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it does make it seem like he's had it longer. But they've also basically been building Mox since before.
Since he fucking showed up.
Yeah.
Since Double or Nothing. The minute he showed up at Double or Nothing, and he beat the shit out of Jericho and Omega when he came in.
Quick side cast, but I'm still confused at how the ranking systems even work in AEW. Because it's like, oh, we have this team, and this team are 1, 2, and 3, and then they'll give you the top 5, but then there's 4 teams that aren't in the top 5 that are in a battle royal or whatever for the number 1 contendership. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, your number 1 team should be your number 1 contender, right? Or at least do the top 4.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll be very honest. I haven't paid fucking attention to AEW's ranking system since they said, "Oh, and we're gonna fucking reset it now at the beginning of the year," and I was like,
Well, they had that tag team battle royal, which ended up pitting the Bucks against Kenny Omega, and obviously that's what they were building for the pay-per-view. But they weren't even like the number one. It was like SoCal Uncensored was number one, Lucha Brothers were number two, I think the Young Bucks were number three. But why didn't you have like a triple threat match? Why, like, technically Best Friends, who's like in the middle of the pack as far as rankings for tag teams go, could have won that match, and now all of a sudden they get a title shot? That makes you no different than WWE. None whatsoever. Like, this ranking system makes no fucking sense.
What are you talking about? They're way different than WWE. Their refs don't even count to 3.
Shit.
It's just an easy fallback rip on AEW.
What? Okay, sorry, one more sidecast, because I know this has been a thing for you, but the disqualification. Pac getting a disqualification in that Iron Man match to lose a fall. That was the first disqualification that they've had.
I don't even. That was what, him and Omega?
Yep, 2 weeks ago, and
30-minute Iron Man match. Who ended up? I didn't.
Omega won in overtime. So
Wait,
Pac.
are we talking Dynamite?
Yep.
No. Oh yeah, Dynamite.
The first fall he lost due to a disqualification.
How? Okay. Compared to ever see, I haven't
think about that.
I haven't said I haven't seen that match to know, so I'm gonna ask.
It was
you guys
really
questions.
good.
How bad was the DQ? Because I mean, we've seen some shit in AEW, like people biting each other, hitting each other with chairs, and we just let this shit go.
We've seen somebody's manager beating up the opponent in front of the referee while the referee's trying to break them up.
Yep.
Not a DQ.
Okay, so what did Pac do to get disqualified?
Nick, that's a you question.
I believe it was a table. He put Omega through a table.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. I've seen way too many people. Nope.
Wow.
Fuck, the Lucha Brothers and fucking Young Bucks were going through tables and chairs and all this other shit, and it was just a regular fucking match. Like, okay.
EW.
All right. Next, I want to talk about the viral sensation of Matt Hardy right now. Matt Hardy let his WWE contract expire, and he had a conversation with Sports Illustrated. They talked to him, and they were like, "So, when do you think you're going to announce where you're going?" And he said, "Within the next 30 days, you'll get an announcement." He said he's been in talks with AEW. He's been in talks with
Major League Wrestling. He listed a bunch.
Yeah. National Wrestling Alliance. Even to the point where within the week of that interview, he had spoken to Triple H about NXT. Like, it's not even like he's saying I will not be in WWE. He's even saying could be in NXT. You never know. Now, at the same time, there is a lot of fucking teasing going on with Matt Hardy and AEW. Matt Hardy with the Dear Dr. RKO is an anagram. Move it around, and the letters reveal Dark Order. Like, there's a lot of talk that he's going to be the exalted one for Dark Order.
Did you see the post?
All Elite Wrestling put out a tweet, and I'm going to pull that up right now, where the first letter of each sentence was spelled out Matt Hardy. It was MATTHARDY. There's a lot of fucking teasing.
Did you watch the Free the Delete episode?
The newest one?
The one, yeah, where he's working out and takes off the fucking thing, and then at the end, fucking the Young Bucks show up in their fucking Escalade, and he's like, "Bucks of youth, I knew you'd come."
I knew you'd come.
And Senor Benjamin's digging fucking graves. It's great.
Yeah, it was spectacular. I'm trying to pull up this tweet real quick because everyone was talking about it. And of course, it's like AEW has decided to tweet a whole bunch of fucking stuff.
I got it. But, yeah. You talking about the one where every sentence had the M and A and R? And
yeah, you got it? Yep. Now I get to it, too.
Made from the void of hopelessness and from time spent away with the shadows. This is what it took for me to arrive. The calling. Hello? Are you there? Ready and waiting. Dark Order welcomes me. You are here.
In the beginning, it's Matthhardy. It just spells out Matt Hardy.
Yep.
There is a lot of stuff going on with AEW and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's obviously with the Young Bucks at the end of the Free to Delete episode. So I guess my question is, Nick, we'll start with you. Where would you want Matt Hardy to go?
AEW, or I don't know if he's a good fit for NWA.
Mm-hmm. You think he'd be better utilized in AEW?
Yeah, especially I think that rolling in, not just because it's been teased, but I think if you did have him as the Exalted one, that's cool.
Right.
I'll take that, yeah.
Z, you?
Anywhere but WWE. No, and I don't say that as a joke. I mean that because WWE, the reason he left WWE was not the money, because they offered him a lot of fucking money. He left WWE because they could not get on the same page about which direction they wanted to go creatively with his character. And whether it be Major League Wrestling or Ring of Honor or NWA or AEW, he's going to get that freedom to do what he wants with his character. Obviously within reason. And we know for a fact that when Matt Hardy has control of the direction of his character, it's dumb, but amazingly dumb.
Right.
Like amazingly dumb. Like he got over a dilapidated boat. Like there were T-shirts with just a flipped over boat on it.
Lake of Reincarnation.
And and when they would do that, and Shane Helms would fall in, and 3 count would come back, like it's so dumb, but it's so entertaining. Like
so good.
The only downfall I see with him going to AEW is there's a lot of younger and older talent in AEW, so eventually they're gonna get to
Snake Roberts.
Yeah, but they're gonna get to a point where they're gonna kind of fall into the same problem WWE has, because WWE has some of the most talented wrestlers in the world, but you only have so many spots for so many people, so people get cast aside and get frustrated or only are on live events. AEW is only a 2-hour show, and they only have a pay-per-view every other month, so to showcase all this talent that they're potentially bringing in is going to be damn near impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the only problem I see. So at some point, like everyone's like, oh, I want this person to go, and this person to go, and this person to go. And if all these people go, what are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do creatively to make all of this work? You have a battle royal every fucking week?
Right. Yeah, because that's where you put your mid cards into the battle royal to put them into the top spot, right? That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, for like a big trophy that they can like walk around with.
I personally think Matt Hardy would be best served if he went back to Impact. I'll be very honest. I like AEW for him.
And the way Impact's going right now.
Yeah, I like him for AEW. I think it is a decent fit, but I think going back to the company where it began with the Broken Matt Hardy universe, I think it would be really smart because, one, then you're not trying to shove Matt Hardy into a startup company. Because let's be very honest, AEW is still a startup company. It's coming up on a year, but it's a year, so therefore it's still a startup company. But you put him into Impact, where everything started, and he still has that creative freedom. I would like to see it. I'm a little worried though, because half of the creative genius behind the Broken Universe is still in WWE, but he's a part of NXT. And I'm talking about Jeremy Borash. So if Matt does go to NXT, I think it would be good only for that. But I don't think that he will have the same creative license that he will have in Impact or AEW. I think those are your two best bets. I know there's been talks with NWA and the talks with NXT, but I feel like those are still, while there's entertainment aspects to them, it's still based on in-ring work, right? And it's so good that adding something that out of the box, which, let's be very honest, the Broken character is a very out-of-the-box character. Great, funny, entertaining, but not something that would take away from the overall product that you get in NXT or NWA. Not in a bad... I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think for the overall product it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I also don't think he'll have the license there, right? They're like, well, let's try to tone it down because this is still, a pretty hardcore wrestling show, NWA, NXT. You go to Impact, though, man. I think their fucking reins are off if he goes to Impact. I mean, they're also off if he goes to AEW, but I think he'd be a great fit to go right back home.
My favorite thing about these free the delete things that he's been posting is the fact that he was still selling the neck injury from injuries sustained during Randy Orton. Yeah, and I was like, that's great. Like Matt's grasp on the psychology of everything, like that's what made his broken Matt Hardy character is, it was funny, but it all psychologically made sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's 45, he's got a few years left. He even said like, hey, I'll probably be back in WWE before this is all over, but for now I got to do what I got to do.
For sure. I mean, if there's anywhere that he's going to retire, it's going to be WWE, and him and Jeff will be going into the Hall of Fame together.
They fucking better.
Yeah.
Well, if Jeff can stop getting in trouble.
I even think they could be the headliners. I think the Hardy Boys could be a headliner.
I could see that. I mean, this class, though, with this current class, any one of those people could be a headliner.
JBL, the Bella Twins.
Batista and the New World Order.
And
Any one of that's a pretty stacked fucking class.
I think this is probably one of the best classes that they've had in a very long time. Every one of them were major influences in wrestling.
JBL helped get Cena over.
Yep, JBL until AJ took it. He was the
longest reigning
champ on
SmackDown. Yep.
Yeah. And what a fucking great gimmick, dude. I mean, he was part of the APA, who still have, to me, the best wrestling shirt of all time. Always pounding ass.
Yep.
You fucking kidding me? God, you can't even find that shirt anymore. But god damn it, I want it. I should just fucking make it.
Yeah. And if you do, I want one.
Right. Elimination Chamber is going on tonight. We have some discussion that we'll get in a little bit. I don't want to do any predictions or anything because at the same time, it was all down for Pro Wrestling Scorecards. It's up now and everything, but we'll be doing that at, obviously, if you guys come down to the Buffalo Wild Wings, just, not as big as our big four, but on the first floor, you can come watch Elimination Chamber.
This is the only pay-per-view for March.
Yes.
So the title goes tonight.
Yes. I looked at Smitty yesterday, and I said, it's really funny. If you don't have the highest score for Elimination Chamber, you even get to hold the belt during your title reign. Not on purpose. We just didn't have a show last week.
That's amazing. So he still doesn't get the belt.
So he still wouldn't get a title in 2020, even though he technically was the champ.
No, it's an asterisk.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, yes, if you guys are in the downtown Detroit area, come on down to Buffalo Wild Wings, 1218 Randolph. We watching the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view live there on the first floor. But big news, there's a lot of disease going on around the world right now.
I've been coughing this whole time.
What's crazy is the coronavirus is so serious, it made Nick's hand grow. It's weird.
It is weird.
It did get bigger.
By about 0.4 millimeters.
Right.
Yeah.
But
now it looks like your pinky toe.
Joking aside with it, it is something major to the point where the Olympics are being talked about being canceled. The entire country of Italy has said, yes, we will still have sporting events, but fans can't attend.
Yeah, that's how the Arnold Classic was.
Yeah.
So they're still doing all the events they planned for the Arnold Classic, just there's no
fans.
spectators.
Yep, no spectators. So, that being said, there's talk right now that the biggest spectacle in all of professional wrestling, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania, could be canceled. I am fucking blown away by this. Like, this is something to a point where it is literally being spread globally, the fear involving it. And it's not even like it's unsubstantiated fear. It's like 3% of people that get this fucking virus die.
Yeah.
You're right? It's not like...
And of that 3%, just to kind of put it in perspective, of that 3%, like how many of those are like elderly or children? You know what I mean? People with weakened immune systems in general.
Yes. And the problem is, because of what it does to children, is where the discussion is coming with WWE.
I mean, it makes sense.
It
sucks.
Yeah,
but it makes
it's
sense.
a kid-friendly product. I don't think you could do WrestleMania in an empty area. I think the worst.
Well, hold on here. go on, and then I'll see.
I think that one of the best moments for WWE was an empty arena match with The Rock and Mick Foley
Halftime heat.
for the halftime heat for Super Bowl. I think that was great. However, trying to put on an empty, I guess it actually is an arena, show, I don't think you could pull that off. Z, you were saying hold on, though?
Yeah, because there is a bright side to this. When Roman wins the title, nobody's there to boo.
A tree falling in the forest.
All right. Wasn't a single boo in the crowd when Roman won the Universal Championship.
The problem with that is if you put on a 7-hour spectacle with nobody in the crowd, it's going to get boring after like the third match.
Dude.
No matter how good the match is, without the crowd reaction, it's going to kind of it's going to take everybody at home out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, do you think, Nick, is there an option to even maybe move WrestleMania?
To where?
I was just thinking that before you asked me. Like,
I would like to point out, I don't think anything's going on at Ford Field.
Yeah.
Right, but you still have the same issue, whether it be in Florida or Alabama or Detroit. You run into the same issue.
Well,
it's more so the travel and everything that.
The other problem is it's not so much that the coronavirus is going around. It's also that in Hillsborough County, where Mania is being held, there
just
have
had an
been
outbreak,
cases of the coronavirus.
Yes.
Right. So I don't think any are in Michigan. Like, I'm not trying to say, move WrestleMania here. I mean, it'd be sweet, but...
The problem is WrestleMania brings in people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Not just the United States, all over the world, and they're all traveling, and travel's kind of what they think brought it here or whatever.
Right.
So now you're taking a risk by traveling, and now if you contract it, now you're going into a stadium filled with all these people from all different walks of life, different countries that could have contracted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like It's a lot of variables in play to say, like, for certainty one way or another, but I don't think you can move it because I think you run into the same. If you end up canceling it in Florida, I don't see it being anywhere else because you would have the same health concerns in other places.
Right.
I don't think they would ever do it, but you put it on a cruise ship. Everybody that has
those
tickets,
are the worst.
Everybody that has tickets to this cruise ship, you got to get tested, and that way.
Is WWE going to pay for me to get tested then?
Yeah.
Also, with this happening, how cheap are WrestleMania tickets?
Right.
I know I can get a real cheap flight right now.
Right.
$8 there and back. Sweet.
Yeah, you can't move it.
No, yeah, I
can't.
agree. If you're this worried about everything, it's a cancellation situation. And if
if they canceled WrestleMania, not even let's not call it canceled because obviously
Delay.
they would reschedule or delay it. But with all the problems of WWE, not creatively, unhappy talent, them losing money in the stock market like crazy, could you imagine? This would be like. I don't think it would take them down, but this would definitely make their battleship start smoking.
Yeah.
Okay, so are they going to cancel it? I don't think so.
No. So something really bad, like someone in Florida, there'd have to be like 5 people that die from it in order for them to.
I don't think 5. I think you'd have to get one person. You get one person that died from it in Hillsborough County, within the next month. And a couple more cases pop up because as far as I've only heard, there's been 2.
Right.
So let's say all of a sudden now there's like 5 or 6.
And even nationwide, it's like 138. It's not a very big number.
But obviously enough to where there's concern. But you get in Hillsborough County, and you get 5 or 6, and one of them dies, I think it then becomes a much more serious concern for WWE and very much could be they might have to cancel it because you're going to get bad press no matter what. But do you want bad press because your company endangered your employees and your fans?
Saudi Arabia.
Again? Or do you want the bad press for going, you know what, we're thinking of the safety of our employees and our fans more than anything else? I'd take the safety bad press before I'd take the more bad press for endangering people.
I would too. I definitely would.
I think it's a real discussion going on backstage right now in WWE.
There's a lot of shit being canceled. Like, I don't know anybody that goes to it, but I know that South by Southwest, which is like a music and art festival, that's canceled. You mentioned the Olympics. I think if
of it, Olympics could be very, very real possibility. Olympics are canceled in Tokyo.
If there's a few other things that start sprouting up, or this got canceled, like significant events or of some significance, that's going to sway them one way or another here in the next. And they got to make a decision quick. They can't be like, "Oh, it's Friday. All right, well,
right, Friday before WrestleMania. Well, we're not doing it now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, see you later."
As we mentioned before, downtown Detroit tonight, Elimination Chamber. We'll be watching it. Come on down. Have a blasty blast. The Elimination Chamber kind of feels like it was just thrown together last minute.
Agreed.
We were talking about how it's great that there's only one pay-per-view between Rumble and Mania because it seems like you could get a lot of good build for Mania still. But because of the Saudi Arabia show, Elimination Chamber, outside of the women's chamber match, is just like, okay, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Fuck, let's just do this. Mm-hmm. It seems like a very thrown together pay-per-view. Obviously, we watch it because we have a partnership with the Buffalo Wild Wings. But Nick, if we did not have a partnership with Buffalo Wild Wings, would you just skim through this to talk about it next week?
No, I'd watch it.
Live?
Yeah.
Really? I'd skim.
Only because and we talked about before the idea that WWE might move their pay-per-views here or whatever. But right now, my access, my price point are right where I like it. Mm-hmm. And it's Sunday. Football's not on.
The
pay-per-view.
XFL is on, sir.
Fuck. That's right.
And the XFL is great.
But yeah, no, I definitely watch it live. I don't watch anything else on Sundays, and
I think I'd just fucking chill. Not for nothing, man. If I'm not, the one thing we can say about WWE is 2019 was probably one of their best runs of pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it. There have been great pay-per-views in 2019. There were good pay-per-views, and there was one that just took a shit And it's not even so much that it took a shit because it was bad. It took a shit because in the main event, Kairi Sane decided to die. And she was severely injured, so the match completely changed and just seemed to take forever. We talk about TLC like the Aleister Black Murphy match, Buddy Murphy match was so good, and then everything kind of just, derailed after that. So it's also very possible that Elimination Chamber could be just like that. Like, wow, it was a really good pay-per-view. Wasn't expecting it, but really good. Z, I asked Nick the questions. If we didn't have a partnership with the Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit for these pay-per-views, with Elimination Chamber just being kind of thrown together last minute outside of the women's chamber match, would you still watch this as a whole to talk about it on Sunday, or would you skim it?
I would watch it.
Wow, both of you say you'd watch it.
I see that's the thing. Like, the only pay-per-view like I make a point not to watch is Super Showdown or anything in Saudi. Like, I don't, and it's not that I make a point not to watch, but it's normally on a Thursday at noon, and I miss it, and I just kind of do the bullet points so I know what happened, because I don't really care to watch it because it's normally a lot of oddball shit. And then this year,
paid for
with Goldberg fucking winning the title, as whatever you want to say about psychology, I'm not a fan of that, of what happened. I'm not a fan of the fallout of what happened. So therefore,
what do you mean?
Goldberg wins the title from The Fiend, and now we have Goldberg versus Reigns and The Fiend versus John Cena, which I'm more intrigued about The Fiend versus John Cena. Especially, I mean, they didn't really have a choice here, but the way they're building up to this match of Bray getting squashed by Cena a couple of years back and personal hell and all, like, they're doing a good job there, but like, why Roman's been feuding with Corbin for like 3 months, and then he just comes out and tells Goldberg he's next? Like, how does that work? That's like AEW. That's like the 5th ranked guy in AEW coming out like, I get a championship match.
I agree. There was original talk that there was supposed to be a men's elimination chamber match, and then that would
have made more.
I agree, and that would have cemented Reigns going into face Goldberg. I don't know why they did that. I get it that Reigns never lost the belt, and that's the angle that you're playing with this.
It's the only one you have, because if you don't play that angle, then it's literally like, yeah, guys, this time we're just shoving them down your throat because we feel like it.
I don't think there was a problem with Goldberg winning that belt. Let's just go and talk about this, and this will be the last thing we talk about. So we can get some good break time in between us and this fucking pay-per-view that we got to have. I think nothing bad came of Goldberg winning this belt. One, you're going to have Goldberg for a month till Mania. Who cares, right? You don't want part-time champions. This is a month of Goldberg, and Reigns will take it off of him, and Reigns will be your champ.
What if he doesn't?
If he doesn't?
Just playing devil's advocate here.
If he doesn't, and you have Goldberg there as much as you have Lesnar, I'm okay with it, because I think Lesnar right now has been the most active he has been in the WWE since he first came back.
Yeah, it's been better, for sure.
I can't knock the people that are bitching about Lesnar. I'm just like, there's no pleasing you.
So, I mean,
Lesnar could be there every fucking week, and people be like, I fucking hate Lesnar as champion.
Going into this, though, there's like this really good possibility that there's a complete reset, just like last year's Mania.
Okay.
I mean, are you okay with that?
What do you mean?
Are you okay? Like, right now, so last year you had Seth win, you had Seth beat Brock, and you had Kofi beat Daniel Bryan. Complete reset at champions. So now, year later.
Oh, you're talking about all the belts.
Yeah, you have potentially Drew McIntyre goes over Brock Lesnar, which I think everybody wants to see.
I think everyone needs to see, too.
See, the problem is with everybody wanting to see it, I think there's still a slight possibility they keep it on Brock just to get Drew over a little bit more and just to have Brock drop the belt at the next pay-per-view.
I think
that, or they have to close the show with it, because I have a feeling when Reigns beats Goldberg
It's going to be a very mixed crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be a lot of piped-in cheers.
And you know what, though? Like, by just throwing Reigns into the picture, they, like, almost ruined all the work they did to, like, build him back up to being what felt like a natural fan favorite because, and part of the reason was they kept him away from the belt and they just let him be him. But the minute they're just like, all right, Reigns is going for the title again, everyone's like, boo.
Right, because it's just now you're throwing Reigns into it. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I mean, he already had cancer, so he's got to be immune to the coronavirus, right?
Right, yeah. He's
in his weakened immune system, because, that was real.
There's a lot of people talking about how The Fiend got buried.
He wasn't buried.
With this loss.
I went back and actually watched that match. He wasn't buried.
It took more to beat The Fiend than it took for Goldberg to beat Lesnar.
And he popped right up.
Yep.
And then
Fiend
he just
was not
disappeared.
buried. Fiend, if you're one of those people that are like, oh, it buried The Fiend, fuck off.
Granted, on the flip side, it did make Goldberg look like a literal superhero.
Because
he had the mandible claw locked in twice for an extended period of time, and that's taken other superstars out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you essentially don't make the Fiend look weak. The Fiend took 5 spears and a fucking shitty ass jackhammer. Yeah, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
He could not get him up.
Well, I was looking at that and I'm like, is that Goldberg or is that Bray?
I think that was more Bray.
I was thinking so too, because you're supposed to kind of hold your own weight up.
Yeah, I think that was more Bray. But Bray's also never been in that position. But you go back to when Goldberg his first match was against Hugh Morris.
Yep. And it looked very similar to that kind of.
But it was still a much better jackhammer. Right.
Goldberg was also 20 years younger.
and he was one of the main trainers.
Oh, and he was a big high flying big man.
Right.
So, he kind of had the acrobats to do that kind of stuff. But so no, the Fiend did not look weak in the loss, especially like having him pop right up after it was done. But it did make Goldberg look way stronger than 53-year-old Goldberg should have looked.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Nick, were you all right with him taking that blue Universal belt?
I was surprised.
Really?
A little bit, yeah.
Man, I called that bitch down the fucking middle.
I seen it coming.
Yeah, I was like, they're going to have Goldberg win just so Reigns takes the belt off of him at WrestleMania, and they're not making The Fiend look bad.
Yeah.
And I hated that because I would have preferred a nice long program between Fiend and Reigns. Mm-hmm. I think if Vince McMahon...
Take it from Mania to SummerSlam.
Dude, yes. Fucking Reigns loses at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
You still put...
But barely. Psychology-wise, like, I almost got... I've been closer than any other superstar, including Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you keep building him over time, like a nice long fucking story. Man, I think that could have been your way to get Reigns, one of the most cheered people in the fucking world, But as we've been learning from the Ruthless Aggression show, talking Vince McMahon out of that quick money is damn near impossible. And Triple H did it once,
Mm-hmm.
So I also understand that Vince is like, nope, I'm ready to come, and I feel like just going, done.
Well, yeah, because there's like every... WWE, I like the direction they were going. Not saying it was perfect by any means, but I did like the change of direction. And then Super Showdown happened. It's like, here's your Mania card, which you probably could have guessed 2 years ago. But it just, I would have enjoyed the fact of no Cena. Granted, I haven't seen him wrestle in a year, so it's not that big of a deal.
You didn't have Taker last year.
Yeah, but I'm.
Right.
You don't know? Do we have Taker this year? Like,
yeah, it's supposed
officially
to be
confirmed.
No, not yet. Nothing. Yeah, that won't be confirmed until after Taker cost AJ Styles the match set at Elimination Chamber.
That's what I'm thinking.
There you go.
So how did you feel when Nick, when Goldberg took that belt?
I mean, I was okay with it because sense wise, I guess having Roman take it from him, and I would have much rather have seen what you guys were talking about, though, the long program with Bray and throwing Reigns in the whole situation. Just to me, it just it's like nails on a chalkboard. Like you had this chance, like you mentioned earlier, with an Elimination Chamber match, and you could have had him win again. That would have made more sense and it made me feel better about the whole thing.
The best part about old school WWE booking, especially when it was just the Big Four, is you would have the winner of the Royal Rumble and the champion, and you'd have a build-up from, some mid-January until the end of March.
Right.
And you would have, and then a lot of times it would be the champ doing whatever he could to take out the Royal Rumble winner because this is the newest threat and blah, blah, blah. Even in the Attitude Era, they skipped a pay-per-view in February. They always did. You had your Royal Rumble, you skip it, and then you have Mania. And then they started doing filler. And now we have Elimination Chamber and technically Super Showdown, which is...
Yeah.
I mean...
It used to be Royal Rumble, No Way Out, WrestleMania.
Yes.
And it was great. And I again, that's what we were talking about earlier.
And even before No Way Out, they would have the In Your Houses, but it would be Royal Rumble Mania. But Royal Rumble was the second week in January, and then this is back when Mania was still in March. It didn't wait till the first week of April. It was the third or fourth week in March. But you had a nice long, almost 8-9 week build-up.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
Yep. That's one thing I like.
But you also only had a 2-hour show, and you didn't showcase the champion every week. You know what I mean? There's a lot of differences nowadays.
But I still agree with it. It's definitely more convoluted right now.
That's one thing I'm really enjoying about AEW is the gap.
The fact that they stick with their and they stick with their storylines long term.
Yep.
Even if they get shit on, they're like, we're gonna see this thing out. You know.
NWA too. I mean, I know they had pay-per-views in back-to-back months, but now you've got a few months between Hard Times and the Crockett Cup. So.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it. That's actually gonna end us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you're in the Metro Detroit area, come downtown Detroit, Buffalo Wild Wings. On the first floor, we'll be watching Elimination Chamber. We'll have the sound on and everything like that. 1218 Randolph, Detroit, Michigan. Parking is free for the meters on Sundays, man. So you don't even feel like you have to pay to park. We will be there. We will be having fun. We also will be having our WrestleMania party at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit for WrestleMania. Come down. Big, huge, fucking blasty blowout for that. Thank you so much for listening. BreakingDownTheRing.com. Get yourself some merch. Go follow us on all of our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And we are your ring crew.
Married Z.
Absent Smitty.
Here, Mikey. And we are out.
Where the fuck is Smitty?
Working.
Oh, okay.
Twerking.
That makes sense.